Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the highest defense team in Pokemon Go with Bastion, the Carbink, as well as the Toxapex. Since the release of Carbink, the Deoxys defense is actually not in the top 3 in terms of defense anymore, which is kind of funny based on the name, but it is what it is. So let's take a look at the team here today. We're going to have a team that is triple weak to ground in a meta where ground is quite common. So, how did it go? What would you expect? I would actually, honestly, I went into this team here with, basically zero expectation, thinking, okay, there is no way that this can be good, and I ended up with a 5-0. I had, I think, 2 3-2s before that. This team was amazing. This team was actually amazing. I have no idea why. Of course, there were some battles where I just lost against ground-type Pokemon, which is just going to happen or whatever. But against a lot of teams, the opponent had from the beginning no chance of winning the game. Just because, not even hardware them. I just had so many neutral scenarios. Basically, for this team, if you're going to be in a scenario where the matchup is kind of neutral, where there's no type advantage at all, you're going to win the matchup. Just because you have the most amount of bulk. Bulk is king in PvP. And so this team had so many matchups just where it was so much better than the opponents, just because he had neutral matchups they were able to go into and just win them immediately. Here, by the way, that was kind of silly for me to go for a Stone Edge, doesn't really matter anyway because you can farm down. And look at this, first opponent forfeited. Let's move on to the next opponent. Next opponent coming up, we're going to have a Charger Bug in the lead, lovely, and we're going to see now a problem maybe for the team, Lanturn. I think I beat every Lanturn that I encountered. I cannot at least think about one that really beat me here. Maybe there was, I don't actually know really. But basically, I don't think this team really struggles against Lanturn. Yes, on paper it does, but both my lead as well as my Carbink here is going to be easily able to take 2 Surfs. It is not going to knock us out with 2 Surfs, even though it's super effective. And then, you can kind of think about what does it really matter if it's super effective or not, because if you only do 30% damage against me with a charge move that says it's super effective, then I don't really care too much about it. As you're gonna see here, we can easily take a Surf again. I don't really care too much about it. Surf is coming through. We're going to be able to just go ahead and go for most likely, soon another Rock Slide. I can just use my first shield here against the opponent, and there's no way of them realigning, and this is so overpowered for us because we were winning the lead there before. And so we can just go for the Rock Slide, force another shield if they want to. I can use another shield as well, just farm them down with Tackle. And yes, we're running Tackle on Carbink. Why do I do this? Because it's going to be my safe swap, and it's going to generate a little bit faster energy compared to Rock Throw. And also, it is going to be better in those really bad scenarios for rock type Pokemon, against ground types. It's not going to be resisted damage, or against fighting types, it's not going to be resisted damage unless it's going to be Annihilate. Annihilate might be a little bit more of an issue for this team, but we are still able to deal with it quite well a lot of times. So here, we're going to see the opponent forfeiting again because there's no way they can win this. A little bit tricky are going to be leads here. They are going to be water type, of course, because we have a lead that's going to be weak to water types. We have a safe swap that's going to be weak to water types. So, where do you really want to go here? I decided to stay in and just take one charge move to force a shield from the opponent, but they're going to actually outspeed me even here, which is going to be a little bit more annoying. Force me to use a shield, but at least I can now go ahead and go for a Stone Edge. I should honestly try to catch the next charge move, but I think I decided to... Oh, actually, maybe I decided to catch the move. I decided to overfarm by a little bit too much and just sacrifice my Bastion at this point. I think I maybe would have been able to farm it down here, but who knows. They're going to have a Gligar in the back, so we have a water type, we have a ground type, basically exactly what the team does not want to face here. So it's going to be a tough matchup for sure. We can still do a ton of damage here and look at Tackle chunking away of the opponent's health, which is kind of nice for us. We can use a shield, and honestly, Carbink was so much fun to play. You most likely saw already my video about Carbink at this point when this video is coming out here, because Carbink was also really good in a serious team. This, of course, was more of a fun team to use, fun in kind of quotes here, because again, it is the highest defense team possible in Pokemon Go. But one issue for sure is going to be something like a Registeel. Registeel is pretty rare to be seen nowadays, but this Pokemon is basically impossible to beat for this team. Great team, by the way, by the opponent. I think it's a good team around Registeel as well, just based on what they are running. But let's move on to the next opponent, as there is no winning here. Talonflame in the lead. Look at my team, or look where Talonflame wants to go here. There is no way. I don't care about switch alignment, literally. If the opponent leader wants to get switch alignment here against my Toxapex, have fun with that. Do you want to have your, fire and flying type Pokemon against one rock type or another rock type? I don't really care. Both of which are going to be fine for me. Literally, there is no bad matchup for us against the lead. So, I don't care if they're going to align themselves here or not, because at the end of the day, like, Talonflame is completely dead already, even though it has full HP. And so I can just go for another charge move here. Going in here with the Sludge Wave, I don't really care too much about whatever they want to do. And I just take it, because at this point, if they're going to have a Mudboy in the back, I just going to be able to get a ton of energy on my Carbink, and so I decided to swap out of here. I know they can go for a Scald, I know they can go for one Ice Rune, so I decided to use a shield, but if they have a Mudboy, I have energy advantage now, or if they have Annihilate, and they actually have a Mudboy in the back, and so we have a shield advantage, we have energy advantage, we have neutral damage from both my fast move as well as my charge move here, and we're going to be able to connect the first one before they can get a debuff on me with Scald. So let's take a look at how this is going to go. Scald's coming through, gonna get the debuff immediately against me, which is not really ideal, but as you're gonna see here, I'm gonna be able to take a charge move with ease, no problem at all. Scald coming through, we can still take one, we can go for a Moonblast, we didn't get the debuff here, and because of the tackle damage, this is going to take the knockout, bye-bye Mudboy, and so it's a Talonflame and like a 1 HP variant of like the other Pokemon there of the Poliwrath. By the way, you know what's kind of hilarious? Look at this. They go for a Flame Charge. It doesn't even knock me out. It is not going to be enough to knock me out. It is so unfair, I have to say. The opponent is going to now... Yeah, I think they should just 12 it at this point. I think they do that as well, so bye-bye there. Next opponent coming through. Pretty bad lead. We can swap out here into our Carbink. Carbink is going to have Tackle. Tackle is going to be very nice against Pokemon, but you're going to get out the Lickitung, which I'm okay with. I didn't want to go, of course, into my Toxapex, as Toxapex is going to have a little bit of a tough time there. One thing here is, where maybe make a mistake, you're going to see it as well. Not too sure if it's going to really matter or not, by the way. I don't really know how this game is going to go. I just remember that I made a little bit of a mistake, maybe. Here I decided to just go ahead and try to use a shield, which is totally fine. I just try to get rid of the shields of the opponent. That's basically my plan here at this point. I decided to go for a Rock Slide now. This should be kind of enough to knock them out. If they want to let this move go through, then we're going to be able to knock them out. But we're going to get a shield, and I like shields. I am totally happy about this play here. I can go for another one. Do I get another shield? I get another shield. Even better for me, because basically the charge move damage is going to not really hurt my Bastion. It's just the fast move damage. And I decide to go ahead and... Never mind, I actually decide to stay in here, which is kind of interesting. The opponent is going to decide to swap into the Ninetales. Now decide to swap out. Yeah, this is kind of what I mean. But maybe it is actually kind of okay still for me, because I am going to have still the energy stored for maybe later on, and this might actually work out quite well for me. Here I can still go ahead and go for a Stone Edge, and maybe I force him to go for a charge move, which might be decent for me as well. But no matter what, we're gonna get them already very, very low here, which is kind of great. Smackdown is still smacking them down, and they decide to go for another charge move, which I quite enjoy. This is going to now be another Thunderbolt. I try to snipe them with the Moonblast, and this works out perfectly fine. So while maybe it was a mistake, it doesn't really matter, because we're going to be able to just knock them out. We can swap out. Toxapex is going to hardwall them, and they decide to forfeit. Has anybody actually really played till the end here right now? I feel like everybody forfeits against me. Here, this game, I was currently in a uni call, by the way, while I was doing this. And yes, like, YouTube is not actually my full-time stuff. I still have to do my university masters at the same time, so... Yes, I basically have 0 time in my life, but I was not really wanting to shield the first charge move here. I did not want to shield against the Vigoroth, so if you're wondering why did he shield the Body Slam, I just wasn't really paying attention. So, yeah, we're going to see here Brian coming through. It is going to be able to connect, and so we're hopefully going to be able to farm them all the way down. I think this is perfect farm down range for the opponent here, and let's see, it is perfect. Literally 5 fast moves, which is all it takes to knock them out. They were just at the Body Slam. And so, we're gonna get out a Lanturn. Oh my god, a Lanturn again, so horrible for me. What I have to say though is, I forgot what they had in the lead. I had no idea what they had in the lead at this point of time, so... yeah, like, this was some kind of guessing game, and so if you wonder why did I go into the Carbink, even the Carbink would be stronger most likely against the opponent. Yeah, Dragonair, I just didn't know what they had in the lead anymore, because I didn't pay attention. So, it's still going to be fine. The only thing that I knew is that the opponent swapped out, so I thought, like, okay, Bastion must be good against whatever they had in the lead. And what we're gonna see here is that I can go for a Rock Slide, force a final shield, and I can swap out here now, because I think I might be able to just farm them all the way down. I have a shield. I will use a shield here, because again, I know that the opponent swapped out from the lead, and it wasn't a Lanturn. So I was thinking maybe the energy is going to be helpful. Maybe it was a Skarmory. Of course, we know at this point it was a Dragonair. And still, the energy is going to be helpful here, as a double Stone Edge is going to be enough to knock them out. So sometimes you don't even have to pay attention here to really win, because... yeah, Awkward Tail is not going to do enough damage. Like, even if they would go for it, which they didn't here at this point, even though they had it, it would have not done enough damage, not at all. And so we can knock them out here, and the Lanturn is going to go down as well. Next opponent, a Alolan Sandslash. That is pretty bad for me, I have to say. Like, this Pokemon is pretty awkward to deal with. We're going to stay in here for a little bit in just order to try to get some damage onto them. The thing is here, Drill Run is going to be double super effective. So your best bet is most likely to just go ahead and try to get a shield here and maybe try to swap out to catch a Drill Run on the Pokemon that you have in the back. Here, having Tackle is quite awkward because, as you're gonna see, it doesn't do that much damage. But at least the Drill Run isn't do as much damage either here, as you can take 2 of them. But if we had the Rock-type Fast move, we would have done way more damage here already, which is a little bit annoying. But at least we can go for our charge moves a little bit faster. But the opponent makes a great play, maybe, to go ahead and go into the Azumarill. Why maybe? Because they don't know. I have the hardest answer to this Pokemon lurking in the back with the Toxapex. And so, and knowing by the lead, I kinda am forced to go for the full farm down and keep the energy, because Fast Move here does 0 against the opponent's Sandslash. So I need to basically keep my Brine energy in order to do something against the Sandslash. Play Rough is going to hurt over time a little bit here, but like, again, like, it is the hardest answer against an Azumarill, and as you're gonna see here, we are going to be below half health. I can still go for another charge move, but does it really matter? It's an Ice Beam, it doesn't really matter. So we have 100 energy. It is going to be in the back here, the Annihilate, and I think this is going to be basically impossible winning this. It is basically the hardest answers for this team the entire way through, other than, of course, the Azumarill. I mean, the Azumarill was aligned against the Rock-type Pokemon, so, like, it is still kind of a hard answer. But I can still try my best. I can go for another charge move here, force the opponent kind of low, and I can swap out now into my own Bastion. I'm forced to use a shield here on the Drill Run. My only hope is that I can still somehow survive a Drill Run here, and then I can go for a Flamethrower. They can maybe only get 1 counter in, and then I would win the game. This is just a dream though, and I'm sadly going to lose this one here as the opponent can counter me down. Next opponent, Horrible Elite Force, swapping out immediately, but at least here, Rock-Slide is I guess still neutral, but like they don't really do too much damage against me. Our fast moves are basically doing the same, and they can reach Rock-Slide a little bit faster, but like I think it's still going to be a decent matchup. Speaking of a decent matchup here, I don't really know why you would go into a Rock-type here instead. Like, would you not rather want to stay in? Like, I don't mind, I get rid of the hardest answer of my Pokemon in the back here, so like I'm totally okay with that, but still feels like a little bit of a weird play. Maybe I also make a little bit of a weird play. Let's find out here. We're gonna see the Rock-Slide coming through, but because the opponent was kind of locked in this matchup already for a little bit longer, I decided to keep the energy on my Carbink instead of letting my Carbink go down. And this might be a mistake. This might be a mistake. We have to see here. We still have 2 shields. I know that I am not going to use a shield against the Vigoroth because like their charge moves are all resisted. But it's going to be a little bit tricky because counter is going to add up quite fast here. And so we have to see how this is going to go. We're going to see that the opponent can still go for a charge move here. This is going to knock me out. No, it doesn't. It actually doesn't. It's just a body slam. It's never resisted. But we can go ahead and go into the Toxapex. And as the opponent goes for a charge move, me using a shield, they kind of realize they had something into the oven. And so they just decide to follow this game. Not knowing what they had in the back, it's going to be fine. By the way, against this team, I had this team, I think, 3 times against me. You're only going to see 1 battle here because they all went exactly the same, because I knew exactly what team I was facing here. Because it is a team that I had in my top 10 favorite teams for the Great League. If you haven't seen the video, definitely check it out. But also, it is a team that Zionic, at the time I did those battles, just showcased as well right after that. So that was kind of a nice coincidence, which happens quite often with me and Zionic, that we kind of showcase similar kind of stuff at the same time. But yeah, basically this team is going to have a Lanturn in the back, and I know about this. I had the team on my top team list. I had the team here also like with a Zionic showcasing it, and so I knew it was a Lanturn in the back. I knew as well that our entire team destroys the alone Ninetales, and so spoiler alert, we're going to be able to win this game all the time. Like, I, again, encountered this team like 3 times while I used this team, and every single time I completely just destroyed the opponent. There was no chance from the beginning for this opponent to like win the game at all. I knew exactly what I had to do. I just had to get the energy on my Bastion, swap out when I had like 100 energy against the Lickitung, go into my Carbink, bait out the opponent's Lanturn, just get the Lanturn low, and then you can sweep endgame with the Toxapex, and this is one of the easiest games that I could have imagined, and so this is going to be it for this one, and we can basically now move on to the final one for today. While maybe the editing program didn't really show it here directly, I was actually at this point at a 4-0 streak, and so this was the battle to go up to the 5-0. So what we see here is a Gligar. Horrible Pokemon for us to deal with, right? It is going to be an interesting one. As they're gonna go for the dig, I can try to reach for Stone Edge, which is going to hopefully connect here. Would like to get some damage onto them, but maybe they're going to use a shield. They decide to use a shield. And because dig, especially from a normal Gligar, is not going to do too much damage against our Carbink, I decide to swap out. And as you're gonna see, it does not even do half of our health. And this is going to be lovely for us, because now we can go for the Rock Slide. It is going to get the final shield from the opponent. They can get my final shield if they really want to here as well, most likely. Not after this one, I guess the one afterwards, which is very likely going to be just an aerial ace, to be fair. But it's going to be hopefully a CMP time. It kind of looked like it. So I tried to go for the Rock Slide here, and it was actually not a CMP tie, seeing by them getting an extra wing attack in. It doesn't matter, and now we can see what they're going to have in the back, which is going to be an Annihilate. And this is going to be awkward, because we're going to have Toxapex here. Toxapex loses matchup. We have a Bastion as well. Bastion loses matchup. They can go for a Shadow Ball, and as you're gonna see, they're going to two-shot me here. But they make a crucial mistake. They swap out into the Lickitung, allowing me to go up to 2 Brines, which is still not enough to knock them out. It is still not enough to knock out an Annihilate with 2 Brines, so we have to still be a little bit creative. And I try to be creative here by going for 1 Stone Edge, and as the opponent still switch locked here, I should be able to overfarm quite a bit afterwards. I hope that I can fully farm them down, but I'm not too sure if this is going to be actually working out, because I got a ton of energy against my Toxapex prior. It might be just not enough for us to really win this battle, but as you can see, they decide to swap out now, and I can go for the Flamethrower. This is exactly what I was waiting for. Flamethrower is going to connect. I have to do a swap immediately here into my Toxapex and go for the back-to-back Brine, hoping that they don't go for a charge move in between, which they would have already at least as a Night Slash here, and so we can take the knockout against the opponents. Annihilate here to win this game as well. They can maybe knock out still our Toxapex, but there's no way that they can knock out my Bastion in the back, and so they can go for another charge move here. This is, by the way, now also uncut, as you're gonna see now. I'm going to claim my set afterwards, because some people were always like, oh yeah, he's just coming into like some battles together or whatever, and that's why he has like so many very positive battles. No, I actually don't. This is maybe a surprise to you, but I actually don't fake my videos. Really surprising, but here, 5-0. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I see you then. Bye bye.